Brooklyn, and today I'm back with another sit-down video because it's about all I can do. So this past week I sprained my ankle, and this is like the lamest story ever. Whenever I tell people, they're like, oh, well, okay, people I don't know, they're like, oh, did you hurt yourself playing sports? I'm like, no, I was walking down the stairs to go eat breakfast and my ankle rolled because I can't do anything. I just watched my ankle go to the side and I fell. And I was wearing my backpack. And my brother was like, are you okay? Do you need help? And I was like, no, I'm fine, but I'm pretty sure I just sprained my ankle. And like it hurt really bad and I didn't want to get up, so I just like scooted down the rest of the stairs and started limping because like I could not put pressure on it. It hurt. So that was a Monday morning, so I went, finished getting ready, and then I had some time, so I elevated my foot and iced it a little bit, and I almost didn't go to school because I really wasn't feeling it that day anyway, but I was like, whatever, I need to go. So I went to school and I was limping all day. Like I could not put pressure on my foot because it hurt so bad. And so, yeah, that afternoon I went to the chiropractor and he was like, yeah, you sprained a ligament in your ankle. Do you have a brace? You're going to need to wear that for a few days. So I went home. I had a brace because I used to play soccer, and we just had a brace because you get a lot of ankle injuries. And so I wore the brace Tuesday and Wednesday, and my ankle was just starting to hurt so much because even though I was wearing a brace, I still had to put pressure on my foot to walk because it's like this little brace. It's not like a big boot or anything. It's just a lace-up brace to keep your ankle still. And it was getting so much worse. And then Thursday morning, I was in my bathroom getting ready, and I moved my hand and knocked my sister's foundation bottle off the counter, and it hit right on the top of that foot. And it hurt so freaking bad. It made it so much worse to where when I literally couldn't put pressure on my ankle because it was such an excruciating pain. I did not think sprained ankles were that bad. Like, I've never sprained my ankle this bad before. Like, usually you wear a brace for a few days and then you're fine. But apparently most sprains are a lot worse than that, which I did not know. So that's fun. So I have crutches at my house, but they were my brother's, so they're like way too tall for me. And so one of my friends had crutches, and so she lent them to me. Props to her. Greatly appreciated. So I used the crutches Thursday and Friday at school, and my arms are so sore. It's a struggle to use crutches, but it's better than limping around and being in pain. Well, I'm here today with a sprained ankle, sitting in this chair, and yesterday I went back to the chiropractor and found out that I'm going to be on crutches for another 4 weeks. I've only been on crutches for 2 days, and I already feel like I'm going to die. So that's fine. But I'm going to be super swole after this, so it's fine. Since I hurt myself, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with the video if I can't walk or stand or whatever. So I started to one of my friends, and he was just like, why don't you do a video about your sprained ankle? And I was like, yeah, I thought about it, but that won't make a full video. So to make a full video, I'm going to be telling y'all about all the other times I've majorly hurt myself, like broken bones or just other things. So a little backstory here before I explain the first time I broke a bone. I have my neighborhood, and then there's a neighborhood across from mine, and then behind that neighborhood is where one of my friends' houses is. So I would ride my scooter through my neighborhood to the one across from mine, and then I had permission from a lady to walk through her backyard to my friend's backyard because their houses were back to back. And so that's how I would get to that friend's house, and then when I would go home, she would ride her scooter with me halfway home, and I would go to my neighborhood, and she would go back through that neighborhood to her house. My neighborhood doesn't have curbs, but the neighborhood across from mine does. And so where a curb and a road meet, there's a crack, right? Right. And so in that crack, there are sometimes chunks of grass that grow out of it. So I was riding my scooter, and I had just fallen a few minutes ago because I hit something and I fell, and my friend was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine, I just fell. And so a few minutes later, I was riding my scooter and I hit something again, and I felt myself do a front flip in the air and then hit my left arm super hard on a curb, and I just laid there for a second, and my friend was ahead of me, and she didn't, she just thought I fell again until I started screaming bloody murder and bawling my eyes out, and she turned around and she's like, "Oh no, are you okay?" And we were in a neighborhood, so obviously, like, I fell in front of someone's house, so they come running out of their house and like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay? What happened?" And so it was this super nice lady, but I had never met her in my life before because it wasn't my neighborhood, it's the neighborhood across from mine. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay? Like, let me help you." So she helped me get up, and she went inside and got some rubbing alcohol and like cleaned my arm because there were scrapes everywhere. And it was like this young woman who was married, and they had like a newborn baby. And she was like, "Do you want me to?" Mentioned I was 9 at the time, so I didn't have a phone or anything. And she was like, "Do you want me to drive you home? Like, where do you live?" And I said, "Well, it's in this neighborhood, like right across from y'all's." And she's like, "Oh, I can take you home." And she thought me and my friend were sisters. And she was like, "Do you want me to take you home too?" And my friend was like, "No, my house is just right there. I'm gonna go home." And so my friend went home, and I got in the car with a stranger. Like, I don't know what on earth. Like, I was just like, "Oh my gosh, this lady's so sweet. She's gonna take me home." So I got in the car with this stranger, not thinking anything about it. I guess I was just so out of it because my arm hurt so bad. And so she took me home. And when I got home, I was like, "Oh, thank you." Like, apparently my friend had gone home and told her mom, "Oh, Brooklyn fell and hurt herself, and some lady took her home." And her mom called my mom and was like, "Brooklyn got in the car with a stranger. We don't know where she is." My mom was like, "Brooklyn, you do not get in a car with a stranger. Like, what on earth? You could have been kidnapped." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't really think about it." My mom knew I was not feeling good, so she took me to the ER, and my arm was broken, blah, blah, blah. I was in a cast for like however long, maybe 6, 8 weeks. I don't really remember. And it was a hot pink cast, super cute. If I have a picture, I'll insert it here. Later, I was riding my scooter again, going to that same friend's house, and I got on my driveway and started scootering. Scootering's a word, right? I started scootering down my driveway, and I had just gotten to the end of my driveway, past my mailbox, so my hand was on the handle, obviously, and the handle slipped out, and I slipped, and I went like this and stopped myself, and I fell, and I was like, right when it happened, I was just like, my arm's broken. I know this pain. Like, it's the same pain. My arm's broken. So since I was just in front of the house, I didn't scream. I was just crying. And I picked up my scooter and I walked myself back to the house. Anyway, so I broke my left arm a second time within a year, I think. I could be wrong. I think within a year. The third time I broke a bone, I was at this thing called Parents Night Out, where a bunch of kids would come and we'd watch them for like 4 hours. It was basically like a game night for the kids. Anyways, we were playing this big game of Duck, Duck, Goose. Anyway, someone had touched my head and said goose. So I got up to chase the kid. He dove for the spot, so his legs were out in the middle, and I was running like as hard. Okay, this is not how you run. Okay, that's not how you run anyway. I'm gonna stop. I was running as fast as I could to catch this kid, and so his legs were in there, and I didn't have time to stop, and so I tripped over his leg onto floor, onto floor. I tripped over his leg onto the floor and slid, and my thumb just went backwards like that against my arm, and I slid. And I got up, I was like, "I'm fine, it's fine." And so I continued playing the game, and like 5 minutes later, I was like, "Man, my arm's hurting really bad." So like I went to my mom and I was like, "Hey, my arm's hurting really bad, but I don't want to make this kid feel bad. I need some ISO because it hurts." And then like as time went on, it started hurting so bad and I was crying. And so me and my dad left and we went to the ER, and I broke a bone in between here. Well, that's the third time I broke my hand. So I broke my hand playing Duck, Duck, Goose, which is really sad, but I think it's hilarious. So the fourth story I have was December of 2015. It was after Christmas, almost New Year's, so we had a bunch of extended family in town, and we decided, it was the year that The Force Awakens came out, so we decided to go watch that as a family and then go ice skating. And so we went ice skating, and I was making it work, basically holding onto the wall like the whole time. So I decided to let go of the wall. Not the best idea I had. and I was ice skating and I fell. So I stuck my arms out and my right arm hit first, and so it was hurting super bad. I started crying, got off the ice skates, whatever. The next day, because it was pretty late, so we didn't go to the ER. The next day we went to the ER, and I didn't break a bone, but I bruised 1 growth plate in my wrist and 2 in my elbow, which is so much more painful than a broken bone. So the first time I broke a bone, I broke my left arm in April of 2013, and then 16 months later, in August of 2014, I broke my left arm. And then 8 months later, in March 2015, I broke my right hand, and then 9 months later, I bruised 9 months later, I bruised 3 growth plates in my right arm. So as you can see, I did not have a lot of luck, because within about 2.5 years, I had 4 major injuries. So my brother came up with the nickname Brooklyn. So yeah, whenever I injure myself, they're like, oh, Brooklyn's back. And now, a good 4 years later, I sprained my ankle and I'm on crutches. So yeah, this is like the first major leg injury, I guess. Kind of. I've had some other leg injuries, leg problems. I have all kinds of leg problems. If you want to hear about that in another video, comment down below and let me know, and I would love to do another story time. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video and these story times, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Oh, I can't get up. I'm crippled. Bye. Now I get to watch Netflix all day because I can't do anything else.